Hello, my name is Teresita Blanco Diaz's sister, and we're reading Saturnastra Chicot Chapter 27. Freedom from what? None of the four who participated in the war could have predicted what followed. Each had a vague hope of taking Berthame's place once he was dead and buried. The power struggle between the western and the northern kingdom tore the continent apart, and during the winter months we used to get invaded by a small brigade every other day. And the skirmishes were a mild nuisance for our prisoners, since we used them as frontline infantry. Those that tried to run away were quickly fetched by our little Sphinx. The only upside to this arrangement was that our constricted soldiers, for lack of a better word, got to enjoy unlimited access to Chicot's own unique arsenal. And even though there were few, these soldiers were better armed than their opponents. And one day, for reasons we did not understood, we awoke to find a massacre in the doorsteps of Little Sofia. Two armies had clashed near a town, and both armies were inexplicably dead. Amberando was the first to speak the name Blood Red. The fear of this mystical figure was soon spread thanks to him and Aldona, and whenever anyone asked about this incident, they would quickly blame Blood Red for those mysterious deaths. Still, the massacre did provide us with plenty of metal scraps, and Chicot also had some of the bodies embalmed to be sold to necromancers, and which body was suitable for necromancy was up for much of debate. The prisoners who were forced to participate in this unsavory war thought that Chicot chose the bodies at random, and when Chicot eventually felt that the traitors had paid back their debt to society, he allowed them to return home. He even gave them a horse and provision, which was pretty generous considering that horses were not cheap. In order to acquire additional protection, Chicot sent emissaries to negotiate Little Sofia's official inclusion to the Southern Kingdom. The emissaries were to negotiate tribute and how much autonomy we could enjoy. The Southern Kingdom was the only one that was not falling apart. It had more or less a semblance of order, though it was having trouble protecting its border. As for the Western Kingdom, it had disintegrated into several dozen territories. The largest of these territories were those under the direct control of Aragon and Sassari. We never got attacked by them, since we were trading partners. We also traded with the Sky Kingdom. The Sky Kingdom was the name given to the cities and towns on top of the large, flat plateau. Access to it was limited during the summertime, and the steepness of the mountain created a natural barrier. Not a lot of information was known about this place or the people that lived there. They had always remained aloft during the entire war. Its capital could be seen from Aragon, which was at the foot of the mountain. Its large castle was a source of much admiration and speculation. During this tremulous time, Chicot was quite merry, and he spent most of his time playing, even when an army was at our walls. After much persuasion, Chicot agreed to make a true stone wall surrounding Little Sofia. While playing with marbles with Chicot, I asked him, "Why are you yielding to our verandas? Up until now? You thought all of his ideas were bad." "I still think he's pretty foolish, but who cares? It will not kill me to give him the benefit of the doubt," he said, holding up to his eye a pretty pink swirly marble. "Aren't you a little old to be playing?" commented my mother when she saw me lying flat on the floor of the saloon beside Chicot. "Let him be, Miss Rosie," said Maria, who was reading a book nearby. I had developed a sort of a relationship with the nymph maiden, and she had patiently nursed me back to health and had even stayed with me during my period of lunacy. And she had also stopped my mother from sending me to the asylum, and when I was better, my mother had finally divulged the nasty story of my dearly departed father. She had married a human named Josephus Rossi, and after being married for a year, his sanity started waning, and when he was not drinking himself stupid, he spent his time wondrously aiming in the darkness, mumbling to himself. And she had begged him to go to the asylum for help, and one day he was found hanged in the barn. The people in Houston had informed my mother that her husband's final raving moments, and he was amok in a frenzy and telling people they are coming or kill yourself before they get you. She found out she was with child a few days afterwards, and she had never told me the story for obvious reason, because of my father, she had always been watching me carefully, looking for signs of insanity. Even at that moment, while I played with Chicot, she was monitoring, looking at me to see if I would crack, and when she left, Chicot commented, "You should get married and have some other kids." Only then she started Again with that sheesh, I said, annoyed. Yes, again with that. Your mother has started with that again. And if I ever to hear the end of it, you will have to marry by the end of this month, said Chicot, sitting up. I also sat up and asked, why so soon? If I hear more about this wife nonsense, it will be I who will end up in the asylum, said Chicot, rubbing his forehead with both his hands to make more of an emphasis. I still could not get used to the sudden appearance of his missing arm, and when I asked him about it, he simply told me that he was now using a prosthetic. A very advanced, highly realistic prosthetic. Every so often we will discuss the marriage prospect, and I will say sarcastically, I won't get married unless you give me a real reason why I should get married. It would amuse me. There is also two other more important reasons, but I prefer to keep them to myself for the sake of our friendship, said Chicot. I was about to protest when I heard a commotion near the tower. It was like practically every day, and I said to Chicot, we're getting attacked again? I am partly to blame for this consternation. I had instructed my agents to exaggerate the work we had in Little Sofia, said Chicot. That is very irresponsible of you, I said angrily. It is called an irresistible lure, and besides, most of the invaded armies have been seriously crippled by our network of highwaymen, said Chicot. Why do this? Isn't the war already over? I asked, moving to sit by the couch. Does it look like it's over? Said Chicot, pointing out the windows. He added, I am not the bad guy here. Why should I be blamed for their foolishness? And would you rather we hand all of our treasure to those murderers? Maria chuckling said, that's funny coming from you. Chicot got up after putting away his toys, and he left the room with an air of someone who was in great fury, though I saw a grin smile painted on his face. And the following week the skirmishes injured a quarter of our guards, and the war was not even nearly complete, and winter's blizzard was setting upon us, and during the blizzard we did not get a single attack, and our men worked hard in building that wall, even when their hands were almost frozen solid. And since this wild obsession was Alvarando's doing, Chicot gave him some leeway with his schedule, and those who were unfortunate enough to work under him learned pretty soon that he was a slave driver. And after 7 days of suffering so extreme, the town people working on the project went to see Chicot to complain about Alvarando's. In response to his complaint, Chicot said, What do you want me to do about it? Alvarando is free to do as he will, just as you are free not to follow his directives. And before the problem escalated any further, Kita took it upon herself to reel in Alvarando's, and it was said that she gave him quite a serious talking to, and he became meek and obedient and even went back to drinking again. This was a good thing. Alvarando was always nicer when drunk, and as of lately, Chicot was always delegating to others his leadership tasks, and this would have caused a problem if Gita had not been there to fill in the power void. And I was glad that she was the one taking over. The New Year came with it, and the harsh snow started to fall. And during that time, I developed a taciturn relationship with Maria. And one day, she coldly asked me to be her husband, and I readily agreed since no other prospective candidates were available. And I did not tell my mother that Maria was the one who had proposed. And I also agreed to wed her after a 1-year engagement period. In the past, I had entertained the idea of marrying Paola. However, she had only eyes for Chicot, and her only discernible talent was beating her enemies to a bloody pulp. And Maria was good at cooking and cleaning, and I already knew she was a good nurse, and her needlework was sublime. And she was also a skilled jeweler. She produced some of the finest silver bracelets I had ever seen. And she was also a skilled duelist and knew how to read. Paola lacked all of those qualities, and when I finally settled on a wife, I went through a period of introspection. I could not help but feel inadequate. At my age, I had a respectable son, but it paled in comparison to Chicot's empire, and after dealing with him for so long, I came to realize he was a child of some unknown creature. And it was the easiest way to explain while the sudden growth of his arm, or his immaturity, or the fact that he grew at such a ridiculously slow rate. And I had only chosen to see him as a dwarf because I wanted companionship. And other than Alvis, my mother and Gita were not there a lot of people who looked a lot like me. And I was begrudged that even as a half-breed, I still came out short even by dwarven standards. And even Maria towered over me. And one day she saw me measuring myself with a duct tape. And frowning, he said, "Don't you know that what you're doing is bad luck?" "Doing what?" I asked, looking at her attentively. "You should not measure yourself or let other people take your measurements. It should only be done when they are picking out your casket," explained Chicot. "You never struck me as a superstitious kind," I said, somewhat surprised. "I'm not superstitious. This is a known fact where I come from," said Chicot. "And where do you come from exactly?" I asked sarcastically. Instead of answering, Chicot literally dodged the question by leaving the room, and I got up and went to chase after Chicot. And this time I wanted a straight answer from him, and much to my disappointment, he was nowhere to be seen. And the following day, Chicot was still missing, and so was a good portion of the army and the townspeople. And Chicot had apparently launched a big expedition in search for scraps of those who had perished in the blizzard. And indeed, like he had expected, the three armies had perished along the road leading to Little Sofia. And others had perished in the forest, and Sir Richard, who had gone on this expedition, described the bloated bodies in great detail. Their deaths had not been natural. When Chicot returned with his guard, he came back with a loot and some disturbing news. The Elven army was on the move, and the humans had broken their covenant with the elves, and now they had a reason to fight back. And with the armies weakened, the elves were making mincemeat of the humans, and for reasons that Chicot's men did not understand, the elves limited themselves to killing all able-bodied warriors. They did not stay very long in one location, and based on their movements, they were heading towards the wilderness or the eastern part of the kingdom. I relayed the news to Andona, and said she had formerly lived within the Elven Empire. And I found her knitting beneath a shaded tree, and I was still not used to her full body covering, designed to shield her from the sun. And after explaining her situation, she thought a moment, and then she said, "If the Alpha Seed is traveling east, he must be headed for Nemorensis." "What is in Nemorensis?" I asked. "Nemorensis is the primordial home of the elves. Our ancestors lived in that forest before expanding to all 4 continents," she explained. "So if your leader is headed there, he must be planning to reunite all the elves under his power," I said, alarmed. "Yes, and if he succeeds, then all except the elves are doomed," she said, casually returning to her needlework. "Wait, what?" I said, taken aback. Pointing towards her forehead, she said, "You ever wonder why I am an outcast among my own kind? It was because I challenged the Alpha Seed's absurd notion that elves are the superior race, and that all others should not be allowed to exist. I always thought that Berthame had enslaved your kind because he was evil." "You are telling me that it was revenge for what your kind did to the world," I said, surprised. "It was a war that took place more than 300 years ago. Ancient history for all but the elves," she said, sighing. "I won't make any excuses for my people. Most of us are not so terribly rotten, though 500 years of indoctrination is almost impossible to challenge, and Berthame was indeed a wicked man, and he had no reason to enslave the nymphs or to wipe out the goblins and the orcs off the face of the world." "What's going to happen now?" I said sadly. "Who knows?" she said, dropping the subject altogether. Bye-bye and God bless.